All right, let's fire up the grill. Today, we're going deep into the world of yakiniku.
Sounds delicious.
I know, right? We've got this really interesting article from the Japanese culinary magazine Dantsu.
Oh, cool. Fancy.
Yeah, and it's packed with all these insights about yakiniku.
I'm already learning things, and we haven't even started yet.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, even I thought I knew a lot about yakiniku, but this article had some surprises, even for me. Like, could you take Wagyu beef, for example.
Okay, Wagyu.
I always thought Wagyu just meant, any high-quality Japanese beef.
Right, yeah.
But this article set me straight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Turns out there are only 4 specific breeds that can officially be called Wagyu.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, 4 breeds. So we've got Japanese black, Japanese brown, Japanese shorthorn, and Japanese plowed.
So, like, most of the Wagyu we see, especially here outside Japan, is probably the black-haired kind, right?
I think you're right, yeah. That's the one everyone thinks of.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it makes you wonder, if a restaurant menu just says Japanese beef, does that mean it's not actually Wagyu?
That's a great question. It's kind of like saying sparkling wine versus champagne. They're both bubbly, but champagne has that very specific origin and those rules about how it's made.
Ah, I see. So Japanese beef could be other breeds that are raised in Japan, but they might not be the special Wagyu breeds.
Exactly.
And then there's, like, Kobe beef. I've heard of that, but I didn't realize how strict the rules are.
Oh, yeah. To be called Kobe beef, it's got to be a specific strain of Japanese black cattle called Tajima-gyu.
Kachimyu, yeah.
Okay, and then on top of that, these cattle have to be born, raised, and slaughtered in Hyogo Prefecture.
Wow, so that region has a very specific climate and farming traditions.
Exactly. Just like you think of terroir for wine.
It all makes sense. Why it's so prized.
Yeah, it's not just a marketing thing.
Right. Okay, so speaking of quality ingredients, something else that blew my mind in this article was all about nemmel.
Nemmel. So good.
I know, I used to think they were just those little side dishes you get at Korean restaurants.
Yeah.
But the definition is so much broader than that.
Oh, yeah. So nemmel basically refers to any edible plant. Any at all.
Wait, really?
So you've got everything from kimchi
Oh,
to seasoned spinach, bracken fern, you name it.
so anything from kimchi to a salad could be nemmel.
Exactly. It shows that deep connection to nature in Korean cuisine,
Wow. I always loved those little dishes, but I never knew how big the category actually was. And they often have that sesame oil and sesame seed seasoning, right?
Yeah, it's a classic combination. Sesame oil brings that nutty, rich flavor. And thanks to modern farming, we get to enjoy all sorts of nemmel all year round.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, ready for another yakiniku surprise?
Hit me with it.
This one has to do with something you'll find at every yakiniku restaurant. Those metal chopsticks and spoons.
Oh, interesting.
Right, they seem so basic. But turns out they might have a connection to the Joseon dynasty in Korea.
Now you've got my attention.
So during the Joseon era, silver utensils were a big deal.
I wonder why.
Not just because they look fancy, but because they could help detect poison.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, silver reacts to certain substances, and it would turn black.
So it was like an early warning system?
Exactly. The kings and queens were using their spoons to protect themselves.
That's incredible. I bet most yakiniku restaurants aren't using solid silver these days, though.
Right. Too pricey. So brass became a popular alternative.
Makes sense. More practical.
And now, you mostly see stainless steel,
Way easier to clean, too.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how that history is still there, like right in front of us.
Hidden in plain sight.
I've also always wondered about the shape of those spoons. They're a bit flatter, right?
Good eye. That shallower bowl is probably connected to Korean eating customs. Makes it easier to sip soup and scoop rice.
Makes total sense. I've always loved how interactive Korean food is. And this deep dive is giving me a whole new appreciation for yakiniku. It's so much more than just grilling meat.
I know. So much depth to explore.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Like we've barely scratched the surface.
Right. What other insights are we going to uncover about this amazing food tradition?
Well, I'm really curious about the origins of yakiniku itself.
Yeah, I'd love to learn more about its connection to Korean barbecue.
Like, how did those traditions blend and evolve into what we know as yakiniku today?
It's a fascinating story of cultural fusion, and it all happened relatively recently.
Oh, you mean like post-war Japan?
Exactly. A lot of Korean immigrants came to Japan and brought their grilling techniques with them.
So it's this beautiful example of how food can bring cultures together.
It really is. And makes you wonder how many other dishes we eat have similar stories.
Right, like how food travels and changes as people move around the world.
And in the case of yakiniku, it created something truly special.
I agree. And I was thinking of the word yakiniku. It literally just means grilled meat.
Yep, pretty straightforward.
But I have a feeling there's more to it.
Oh, absolutely. There are nuances, even in that simple translation.
Like what?
So yaki refers specifically to grilling over an open flame.
Ah, so it's not just any kind of cooked meat.
Exactly. It's got to have that smoky flavor, that direct heat.
I see. So it's not the same as steaming or stir frying.
Nope. And then niku, of course, is meat.
But what kind of meat do you usually find in yakiniku?
You've got the classics like kalbi short ribs.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
So tender and flavorful.
The best. You'll also find pork, chicken,
Okay, yeah.
and even some offal.
Awful, like organ meats.
Yeah. They add a whole other dimension to yakiniku.
I've never tried those before, but I'm always down to try new things.
It's definitely an adventure. The texture and flavor are completely different from muscle meats.
This is making me crave yakiniku so badly. I need to find a good restaurant ASAP.
Right?
There's just so much to explore and enjoy. This deep dive has been incredible.
Me too.
It's really opened my eyes to how nuanced yakiniku is. From the ingredients to the history, the grilling techniques, and all the cultural connections. It's amazing.
For me, the best part is how yakiniku brings people together. It's about that shared experience, that sense of community.
You're so right. There's something special about gathering around a grill, cooking your own food, sharing bites with everyone. It's more than just eating.
Totally. It's a celebration. Flavor, tradition, togetherness, all in one amazing experience.
Love that. Well, I think it's time to wrap up this part of our yakiniku deep dive.
Already? Oh, man.
But don't worry, there's so much more to come.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll explore even more about the art and enjoyment of yakiniku.
Sounds delicious. Welcome back. Ready for more yakiniku?
You bet. We were just talking about how yakiniku brings people together, and this article mentions how even the way the meat is presented adds to that feeling.
Oh, yeah. Yakiniku often has those platters, you know, with all the thinly sliced meats.
Yeah.
Like artfully arranged, ready for the grill.
It's beautiful.
It's not just about practicality, right? It's about making it visually appealing, like inviting everyone to dig in.
like a culinary work of art.
Exactly.
But those thin slices are practical too, right? They cook so fast over that high heat.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about balance. Gotta have the beauty and the function. Those thin slices make sure the meat cooks quickly and evenly.
No one wants to wait forever for their food to cook.
Exactly. And speaking of cooking, have you ever noticed how the grilling itself becomes like the center of attention at a yakiniku meal?
Oh, for sure. It's not like you're just sitting there passively waiting for your food.
Right?
You're involved. Tending the grill, adjusting the heat, figuring out when each piece is done just right.
It's an experience.
Definitely. It's way more interactive than just going to a regular restaurant.
Totally. And it's not just about the grilling itself, right?
Yeah.
It's about the aromas, the sounds, like the whole sensory experience of yakiniku.
It really is. The sizzle of the meat, that smoky smell, makes you hungry just thinking about it. Actually, that makes me think about the sauces and side dishes too. The ones that go with yakiniku.
Oh, those are key.
They seem to really round out the flavors of the grilled meat, balance things out.
Exactly. They add complexity and depth to every bite. You've got your savory and tangy options like ponzu and soy sauce.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Cuts through the richness of the meat.
And then there's gochujang, which adds a kick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love how you can kind of customize each bite.
Right.
Like try different sauces and find what you like best.
Absolutely. It's all about personal preference.
And we can't forget the side dishes. Kimchi, pickled veggies, rice.
Those are so important. They give you a break from all those savory flavors.
Keeps everything balanced. Which, speaking of balance, the article talk about enjoying yakiniku in moderation too.
That's a good point. It's super delicious, but it can be rich, you know? Lots of fats and calories.
Yeah, that's true.
Like with anything, it's about finding that sweet spot, enjoying it as part of a healthy diet overall.
It's a good reminder.
Okay.
Before we wrap up this part, I wanted to touch on something we haven't really talked about yet. Like the cultural side of yakiniku.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It's clearly more than just a way to cook meat. It seems like it's a really big part of Japanese culture.
You're right. It's a social thing, you know, like a ritual, a shared experience, a connection to tradition, often tied to celebrations, special occasions, getting together with friends and family.
I'm seeing yakiniku in a whole new light now. It's like a way of expressing togetherness and enjoying each other's company.
Exactly. It's more than just the food on the plate. It's about everything that surrounds it.
This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. We've gone from the origins of Wagyu to those metal utensils and their history, and then to the actual grilling and the flavors, and now the culture. Amazing.
And we're not even done yet.
I know, right? There's still more to uncover. Join us for the last part of our deep dive, where we'll talk about what it all means in a bigger sense. Plus, we'll leave you with some food for thought, literally. All right, welcome back to our Yakiniku deep dive. We've uncovered a lot about this amazing food tradition, and now it's time to step back and think about what it all means.
It's been a wild ride. Wagyu, metal utensils, grilling techniques, those amazing flavors, the culture.
I know. And I feel like with every step, we're peeling back another layer of this onion,
Yeah.
Yakiniku is way more than just food. It's like a whole philosophy almost.
I totally agree. One thing that really stands out to me is how Yakiniku embodies mindful eating,
Oh yeah, like slowing down, appreciating the ingredients, savoring every bite.
It's the opposite of that, rushed eating we do so often these days.
Totally. Yakiniku makes you be present, engage with your food, really enjoy the experience.
It's like a little oasis of mindfulness in a world full of distractions.
Exactly. And it's not just about slowing down, it's about really connecting with our food. Like knowing where the ingredients come from, the traditions behind it all.
Which makes it so much richer, right?
Absolutely. Like each bite is telling a story.
And those stories connect us to our past, our culture, like the bigger human experience even.
No, that's so true. Think about it, grilling meat over an open fire. It's something that's been done all over the world for centuries.
It's primal.
It really is, this universal way of cooking and eating together.
It's amazing how something as simple as grilling meat can have such deep roots, culturally and historically.
Makes you realize food isn't just about eating, right?
Exactly. It's a way to connect with our heritage, with each other, with the whole world around us.
And even in our busy modern lives, we can still find these traditions, these moments of shared joy through food.
They're worth cherishing for sure. This whole deep dive has been amazing.
I've learned so much.
Me too. It's not just about Yakiniku. It's given me a whole new perspective on food in general.
Yeah.
How it brings us together and how powerful it can be.
Totally. And it all started with this one Dantsu article about Yakiniku. It's amazing what you can learn if you just dig a little deeper. So to wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with this. The next time you're having a meal, any meal, take a moment to really savor it. Think about the flavors, appreciate the company, and think about where that food came from, the journey it took to get to your plate.
You might be surprised at what you discover.
You really might. And that's it for our Yakiniku deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Hope you enjoyed it, and happy grilling.